mystery of stuff.
A dog getting abandoned might literally be one of the saddest things you could hear of. Much like humans, dogs are quite the sensitive kind, and so how they're treated or what they experience greatly shapes their outlook on life and how they behave. It's absolutely heartbreaking to see the look on the canine's face when they realize they're unwanted. The feeling of rejection and failure is something we can all relate to. It's a feeling that we all try to refrain from happening to us. To even think about someone being cruel enough to leave their pets behind is something truly tragic. This dog luckily had one of the most epic rescue stories after being left to die. Before we get to the main story, here's a little reminder of why you need a dog in your life. You'd be fairly surprised to see just how helpful your favorite canine actually is. This is essentially one of the main reasons why you should definitely adopt a dog from your local animal shelter. Many studies and researchers have proven that there's a considerable difference in pace of recovery from illness when dog owners and non-dog owners are compared. Dog owners recover quicker than non-dog owners, which clearly suggests that they have a huge impact. Heart attack survivors have been proven to be twice as lucky to get a full recovery if they own dogs. This is a more obvious reason than the rest, of course. A dog always needs his daily exercise. You need to take your dog for a walk or jog every morning or evening. And quite frankly, even you need your everyday exercise. So why not get a dog and have fun while exercising together? Dog owners are the caretakers of the dog, so they have a certain duty to make sure the dog gets everything it might need. So eventually, dog owners tend to become a bit more active than they normally would be. There are several reports of a dog that's been wandering around the train tracks. The dog was always seen alone, so it became clear that it was a stray dog. Why was it hanging around there of all places? The train tracks are not safe for anyone to be around, let alone a dog. So what was the dog's story? When you think about it, what could be so wrong with a dog that makes anyone decide that they're no longer worth keeping? Surely there must have been a good reason, right? Bobby here is a tiny white lab shepherd mix. This little pup had been roaming the streets of Romania, walking alone in the cold, heartless weather. He had no company and was indeed very scared. He'd been alone for so long that his behavior showed just how uncomfortable he was to be around anyone. So what was in store for this little white pup? He was surely helpless because he was so small and so lost, all alone with no one for company. He'd been walking aimlessly until he reached a railroad station. There, someone finally took notice of him. Rescuers were slowly becoming a little worried as to why Bobby would spend time at the train tracks. He could have been hit by a train. To make matters worse, since this little guy did not have anyone to care for him, who would even be there if tragedy struck? So, to see a dog hanging around on the train track was clearly a bizarre sight. It alarmed many people who were staying close to the railroad. Since they did not want to risk any chance of Bobby being saved from the train tracks, they needed to come up with a plan B. make your pet feel loved, wanted, and safe. You should also note that switching up treats just like you do toys will benefit your dog. Dogs usually have a variety of favorite treats too. You can always keep them on their toes and give them a treat that differs each time. It's exciting for a dog to receive a treat that's unexpected and new. They'll always get to enjoy a spectrum of their favorite flavors and textures. It's fairly common to try and treat pets like kids because they're often seen as the ones needing guidance and help. But we must remember that they're grown-up adults who actually need a purpose and something to do each day. You can give your dog some responsibility by making it carry its treats when trekking or make them fetch things like keys and shoes. This is actually quite beneficial for their mental stimulation. It turns out humans and dogs are not all that different after all. Even they love to get pampered and treated nicely. Hence, a nice spa day, free of stress and everyday woes, can prove to be good for you and your faithful companion. You don't necessarily have to take your pet to a luxurious spa. Why not create your own spa in the comfort of your own house? We often forget that dogs have an incredible sense of hearing and smell. They're actually excellent guards that can keep an eye on the house. We cannot spend every waking second with them, so they need to learn to be responsible too. If you open your windows, you'll help stimulate your dog's sensitivity and therefore help it become more efficient as a watchman. Make sure your window is not one that can make them run away from home though.